She's lost.
Lost her husband.
Lost her way.
Found the darker way.
The road that leads into the funnel.
Lost her own.
Found the whistler from the stars.
Eater of dimensions.
The blind piper.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another movie review by Centipede Geek. Well, the Oscars are coming up in just a few weeks, and that means that I'm going to do my total best to watch all of the Oscar-nominated films that I can. Films such as Zero Dark 30, Django Unchained, Lincoln, Silver Lining Playbook, Argo, Flight, animated films such as Brave and stuff like that. I'm going to do my best to watch all of the films that are nominated for the Oscars. In all reality and all honesty, Oscar-nominated films never really interested me. Zero Dark 30, not that it's a bad movie, I haven't seen it yet, so I really can't state my opinion on it, but it just doesn't look like my thing. Argo, it looks alright, it doesn't look like my thing. But I'm going to give it my best shot and do my total best to give every Oscar-nominated film for the year of 2012 a chance. I just want to see what the big fuss says about Oscar films, and if they can deliver like the critics and audiences have said that they can. So the first Oscar film that I'm going to talk about today, and this film has won several Golden Globes and just several awards already, and that is for the Steven Spielberg directed film by the name of Lincoln. This film stars Daniel Day-Lewis playing Abraham Lincoln, Sally Field as Mary Todd Lincoln, of course his wife, David Strathairn plays William Seward, Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Lincoln's son. It also stars Tommy Lee Jones and then several other characters also. Anyways, let's get to the main plot of Spielberg's film titled Lincoln. Lincoln is pretty much the story of Abraham Lincoln, except it happens near the end of the Civil War, and Lincoln has tried to get the 13th Amendment passed, and if you don't know what that is, I guess look it up in the history book. I'll just tell you now. He's trying to get the amendment passed to abolish slavery, and we all know what slavery is, of course, so I don't have to go into big detail about that. Anyways, that's it. Lincoln is trying to get this 13th Amendment passed to abolish slavery and make slaves and blacks and Negroes free for forever and ever. That's the plot of Lincoln, a very basic plot. Anyways, let's get to my opinion of what I thought of Lincoln. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I was not a big fan of this movie at all. Let me tell you some good things about it first, though, before I get into my big ranting session, because here in a few minutes, I'm going to rant quite a bit, so be prepared. But let me tell you some of the good things about the movie. One of the best things about Lincoln was, if it had any good things about it, because it really didn't have much, was the performance of the actor named Tommy Lee Jones. I thought that literally his character was probably the best guy in the film. He plays a man by the name of Thaddeus Stevens, and Tommy Lee Jones is just pretty much this guy in this movie who doesn't give a flying flip what anybody else thinks. He believes that slavery should be abolished. He doesn't give a crap what anybody thinks, and he's not afraid to show his opinion. I thought Tommy Lee Jones was literally the best thing about this movie. Every time he came on stage, I wanted him to stay right there in center view of the camera. I didn't want him to get off, because every time he wasn't there, the movie was just absolutely boring and just uninteresting. I will say, at times this movie can be interesting. So during some of the debate sessions where they're arguing about whether or not to pass the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery, during some of those debate sequences, the movie can be interesting because this has a very interesting premise. And if the 13th Amendment wouldn't have been passed, we would be at a different point in our country today. So at times, this movie can be interesting. It can be. And at other times, it's just not very interesting of a movie, really. In all honesty, I thought Daniel Day-Lewis didn't play a very good Abraham Lincoln. In all honesty, here's a little bit of ranting. He didn't seem very passionate at all, and for some reason, every character in this movie has to talk like they are constipated. They talk kind of like this. Why does everyone speak like this? Not to just complain, but I didn't understand why everyone in this movie had to talk like they had something going on in their throat or something. They all talked like they had the flu or a cough or like tuberculosis or something. They all talked like that, and I didn't understand that. I didn't find it witty. I didn't find his performance. A lot of people are calling his performance witty. I didn't find Daniel Day-Lewis fascinating at all. And I'm getting ready to compare something to it. And in the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I know two totally different movies. Put all the vampire killing aside, I actually thought that the guy in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter played a better Abraham Lincoln. We got to see him make more speeches. He actually was passionate while making those speeches in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, all killing and chopping heads off aside. The actor in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter actually played a better Lincoln than Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis, overall, as Abraham Lincoln, he was just boring. I mean, he didn't give any actually Oscar-worthy performance as I thought he was going to. He's got so many nominations. He's already won some Golden Globes and Academy Awards. He's won so many awards and already been nominated for so many that I thought Daniel Day-Lewis would have performed great as Abraham Lincoln, but all in all, he just wasn't much of anything. Sally Field as Mary Todd Lincoln, Lincoln's wife, I thought she was pretty decent. She was actually pretty cool at times. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robert Lincoln, Lincoln's son, he was also pretty cool at times. I had no problem with him. My main complaint with this movie is that at times it's interesting and at times it's not. And honestly, I don't think it portrays Abraham Lincoln in a very good fashion. I mean, because they have something very historical here. And if they wanted to, they could make history and they could make the 13th Amendment and abolishing slavery interesting because it is an interesting topic. It is an interesting time in the time of the United States of America. But I don't think this movie did that at all, in my opinion. I don't think that it delivered in the way it could have and in the way it very well should have. This is definitely not my favorite Steven Spielberg film. I don't think it deserves much of any Oscar nominations. The best moments in this film, like I said, are definitely when Abraham Lincoln is off screen. Another complaint was, we all know, if you don't know, go read a history book. We all know how Abraham Lincoln dies in the theater. Another big complaint was the way he died. There was no bullet shot. You didn't even hear anything. There was zero blood, no bullet wound on Abraham Lincoln's body, so that made no sense. And I'm usually not the big, it doesn't matter to me if things make sense. But for a film like this, it needed to. For a film of such, Oscar and high caliber, it needed to. And I mean, you didn't even see him get shot. All that happened was the president's house been shot. That was it. I don't mean to ruin the movie for you, but you should already know how the movie ends. If you know about history, you know how the movie ends. So it's not really ruin anything, I guess, in the process. But like I said, anytime Tommy Lee Jones or Joseph Gordon-Levitt or Sally Field is on stage, that's when the movie succeeds. Anytime Daniel Day-Lewis is on stage, that's when the movie failed for me. Overall, this movie, I have to be honest, was a complete and utter bore and a snore fest. It was just, they could have made it interesting. They could have made it entertaining. They barely even showed the Civil War. I'm not asking for a lot of action. I'm not asking for a lot of dialogue. One of my favorite movies that I've just watched recently was Alexander, directed by Oliver Stone. This Alexander has a total of 2 war scenes, and the rest of it is talking. I love that movie. Clever dialogue. Abraham Lincoln, directed by Steven Spielberg. to me at least, didn't have a lot of clever dialogue. It was a lot of people jabbering on and on about politics and whether or not to pass the amendment. And while they're jabbering about politics, there was no passion in their voices. There was no character in their performances. And overall, it was just a boring snorefest that I really just couldn't get into. And overall, I didn't care about any of the characters. I couldn't get attached to anybody. And overall, it just wasn't entertaining. People said this movie entertains you as well as informs you. I don't think it really informed me much at all. I didn't really learn much of anything from watching this movie that I didn't already know. Besides the fact that Lincoln likes to crack jokes every once in a while, jokes that no one laughs at. Who cares, right? Overall, Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't play a very good Lincoln, and overall, this movie, in my opinion, doesn't deserve the recognition it has gotten, if you ask me. Anyways, that's my rant and my review for the Spielberg film titled as Lincoln. What did you guys think of Lincoln? Did you like it? Do you think it deserves the so-called Oscar that it will probably most likely receive, or the Oscar nomination it has gotten? Or is it mainly for the fact, my full opinion is the reason this film's got nominated is Spielberg, an historical figure. That's why it got nominated, in all honesty, in my opinion. Anyways, what did you guys think of Lincoln? Did you not like it? Did you like it? Let me know on the comment board below. Once again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my page below, and I will see you guys later in another movie review by Centipede Geek.